What if I told you that a simple daily habit, something you almost certainly did this morning without a single thought, is helping create the perfect storm for prostate trouble? What if the very thing you connect with rest and relaxation is actually a wolf in sheep's clothing, quietly contributing to a future of sleepless nights, constant worry, and a life that feels like it's shrinking day by day? My name is Dr. Morgan, and as a urologist who has spent over 2 decades helping men navigate the complexities of their health, I've seen firsthand how seemingly innocent lifestyle choices can lead to frustrating consequences. I want to tell you about a patient of mine, a 67-year-old gentleman I'll call Walter. When Walter first walked into my office, you could see the fatigue and worry etched on his face. He was a man who felt like a prisoner in his own home. He was getting up 5, sometimes 6 times a night, stumbling to the bathroom in a sleep-deprived haze. His world had shrunk to a radius defined by the nearest available restroom. He couldn't enjoy a long walk, sit through a movie with his wife, or play a round of golf with his friends without that nagging, urgent feeling. He figured it was just an inevitable part of getting older, a cruel joke of nature, but the cause wasn't what he thought. It wasn't some unavoidable genetic curse. It was a single common habit that most men over 60 do without a second thought. A habit that was not only worsening his symptoms, but actively contributing to his prostate problems. In this video, I'm going to share Walter's story, reveal this one habit you need to break today, and give you the practical, actionable steps to protect your prostate and reclaim your life. Stay with me, because what you're about to hear is the prostate advice you desperately needed sooner. The silent epidemic in your living room. Does Walter's story sound familiar? Maybe it's not 6 times a night for you, maybe it's just 2 or 3 right now, but it starts there, doesn't it? That subtle change. The first time you have to excuse yourself from the dinner table, the first time you pause a movie, the first time you wake up and realize your bladder is dictating your sleep schedule. You might tell yourself it's because you drank too much water before bed, or that it's just a one-off. But then it happens again and again. And that little voice of denial gets quieter, replaced by a growing hum of anxiety. This is the reality for millions of men over 60, and it's a reality steeped in what I call silent suffering. Men are masters of stoicism. We're taught to tough it out and not complain. Aches, pains, a little trouble in the bathroom department. It all gets filed under getting older. We don't talk about it with our buddies over coffee. We don't bring it up with our partners. We certainly don't want to bother a doctor with something that seems so trivial. But it isn't trivial. Let's quickly talk about what's going on inside your body. The prostate is a small gland about the size of a walnut that sits just below the bladder. Imagine a garden hose. Now imagine a clamp being slowly, almost imperceptibly, tightened around that hose. That's essentially what happens with an enlarged prostate, a condition we call benign prostatic hyperplasia, or BPH. As the prostate grows, it squeezes the urethra, the tube that carries urine out of the body. The result? A weak stream, trouble getting started, a feeling that you can't fully empty your bladder, and of course, those frequent, frustrating trips to the bathroom, especially at night. So, what is this one habit, this silent saboteur that is tightening that clamp day after day? It's not some exotic food or a rare chemical. It's something far more common, far more insidious. It is the habit of prolonged sitting, your favorite armchair, the driver's seat of your car, the desk where you read the paper. The very act of being sedentary for hours on end has become a silent epidemic, and your prostate is paying the price. You might be thinking, a chair? How can sitting in a chair be the problem? It sounds a little absurd, I know, but the science on this is pretty clear and getting stronger. When you sit for extended periods, several negative things are set in motion. First, you're contributing to a sedentary lifestyle, and physical inactivity is a known risk factor for worsening BPH symptoms. It's also being studied for its association with a higher risk of more aggressive forms of prostate cancer. Regular movement is crucial for a healthy body, and the prostate is no exception. Second, sitting too much promotes obesity and what we call metabolic syndrome, a group of conditions that includes high blood pressure, high blood sugar, and extra body fat around the waist. This puts your body in a state of chronic, low-grade inflammation. Think of inflammation as your body's internal fire department, rushing to deal with an injury, but when it's low-grade and chronic, it's like a fire alarm that's always smoldering in the background. This constant inflammation is a key driver of prostate enlargement. A sedentary lifestyle fuels that fire. Finally, let's talk mechanics. When you're sitting, your body weight can compress the pelvic region. This may reduce blood flow to the area, creating a congested environment and putting stress on the prostate gland itself. For a man who already has a slightly enlarged prostate, sitting for hours can directly make his symptoms, like that feeling of pressure and urgency, even worse. It's a perfect storm of biological and physical stress, all centered on this small, vulnerable gland. And it all starts with the seemingly innocent act of taking a seat and staying there. Walter's mistake and the vicious cycle. Let's go back to Walter. When we sat down and really dug into his daily routine, the picture became crystal clear. Walter was a retired accountant who had spent his career largely behind a desk. He'd looked forward to a more active retirement, but old habits die hard. He loved to read, follow the stock market, and watch historical documentaries. His days, once structured by work, now revolved around his favorite armchair. He'd sit for 2 or 3 hours in the morning with coffee and the paper. He'd sit for another few hours in the afternoon with a book, and he'd top it off with 3 to 4 hours in front of the TV in the evening. Without realizing it, Walter had fallen into a devastatingly common trap for men his age. He was caught in a vicious cycle. His prostate symptoms, the urgency and frequency, made him tired and anxious about leaving the house. That anxiety and fatigue made him less active. He turned down invitations for walks. He stopped working in his garden. He became more sedentary. And the more he sat, the worse his underlying condition became. The worse his condition got, the less he felt like moving. His world was shrinking, and his own habit was the architect of his prison. But sitting rarely travels alone. It brings a gang of co-conspirators, other lifestyle factors that team up to wreak havoc on your health. As Walter sat more, his diet started to slide. It's a classic pattern. When you're sedentary, you're more likely to reach for convenient, processed snacks. Walter's diet had become rich in the very things that are known to harm the prostate. He was eating more red meat, processed cold cuts for lunch, and indulging in full-fat dairy like ice cream in the evening. This type of diet is strongly associated with a higher risk of prostate problems and can worsen BPH symptoms by promoting inflammation. Naturally, the combination of inactivity and a poor diet led to another predictable outcome: weight gain. Walter had put on about 20 pounds since he retired, mostly around his middle. This abdominal obesity isn't just a cosmetic issue. It's a metabolic powerhouse of inflammation, churning out signals that can encourage the prostate to grow and become more irritated. And there was another, more subtle factor at play: stress. The constant worry about his symptoms, the poor sleep, the feeling of losing control, it all created a state of chronic stress. This mental burden isn't just in your head. It triggers the release of stress hormones like cortisol, which can further contribute to inflammation and disrupt the delicate hormonal balance that governs prostate health. So you see, it wasn't just the chair. The chair was the command center for a whole host of damaging habits. It was the hub of a lifestyle that was systematically breaking down his body's defenses. The prolonged sitting led to inactivity. The inactivity led to poor dietary choices. The diet and inactivity led to weight gain and chronic inflammation. It's a domino effect. And for Walter, it all started with that simple, seemingly harmless choice to sit down and stay put. He was trying to relax, but he was actually accelerating the very problem that was destroying his peace of mind. The path to reversal. By now, you might be looking at your own favorite chair with a bit of suspicion. You might be tallying up the hours you spent sitting today and feeling a knot of concern in your stomach. This is good. Acknowledging the problem is the first, most crucial step towards solving it. The story doesn't have to end like Walter's began. You have the power to break this cycle, and it's simpler than you might think. It doesn't require an expensive gym membership or some radical, unsustainable diet. It starts with small, consistent choices. Now that we've talked about the why, let's get into the how. I'm going to lay out a 4-step plan to counteract the effects of a sedentary lifestyle and build a robust defense for your prostate. Break the chair's grip. The most important takeaway from this video is this: The solution isn't just about adding a 30-minute workout to your day. It's about fundamentally changing your relationship with sitting. The key is to interrupt periods of sitting as often as you can. I call it the 30/3 rule. For every 30 minutes you find yourself sitting, get up and move for 3 minutes. That's it. Set a timer on your phone, your watch, or even a simple kitchen timer. When it goes off, stand up. What do you do for those 3 minutes? It doesn't have to be complicated. Walk to the kitchen for a glass of water. Step outside and take a few deep breaths. March in place while you watch the news. Do a few simple stretches. The goal is just to get the blood flowing again, take the pressure off your pelvic region, and remind your body that it was made to move. This single change, practiced consistently, can have a more profound impact than one intense workout followed by 8 hours of sitting. It breaks the cycle of stagnation at its source. Embrace the right kind of movement. Once you start sitting less, you can focus on moving more. The general recommendation is to aim for at least 150 minutes of moderate intensity exercise per week. That breaks down to just over 20 minutes a day. What does moderate mean? It means your heart rate is up, you're breathing a bit heavier, but you could still carry on a conversation. No need to run marathons. The king of prostate-friendly exercise is brisk walking. It's free, it's accessible, and it's incredibly effective. A brisk 30-minute walk 5 days a week will get you there. Other fantastic options include swimming, which is easy on the joints, cycling, or even dancing. Find something you enjoy, because that's what you'll stick with. This kind of regular exercise has been shown time and again to improve urinary symptoms associated with BPH and is linked to a lower risk of serious prostate cancer. It helps you maintain a healthy weight, reduces inflammation, improves circulation, and balances hormones, all critical for prostate health. Fuel your prostate's defense system. As you start to move more, a funny thing happens. You start to feel better, you have more energy, and this often inspires you to make better choices about what you eat. You can't out-exercise a bad diet, so fueling your body correctly is the third crucial pillar. Think of your diet as the building blocks for your body's defense and repair systems. You want to give it premium materials, not junk. The best dietary pattern for prostate health mirrors a Mediterranean-style diet. It's rich in vegetables, fruits, whole grains, and healthy fats. Here are some prostate powerhouse foods to focus on. Cooked tomatoes. They're packed with an antioxidant called lycopene, which concentrates in the prostate and helps protect it. Cooking tomatoes, like in a sauce or paste, makes the lycopene easier for your body to absorb. Cruciferous vegetables. This means broccoli, cauliflower, kale, and Brussels sprouts. They contain compounds that may help protect prostate cells. Omega-3 fatty acids. You'll find these in fatty fish like salmon, mackerel, and sardines, as well as in walnuts and flax seeds. Omega-3s are powerful anti-inflammatory agents that help cool down that chronic, smoldering fire in your body. Pumpkin seeds. These are a fantastic source of zinc, a mineral that is highly concentrated in a healthy prostate and is essential for its normal function. Just as important is what you limit. As we discussed, you want to dramatically reduce your intake of red and processed meats, full-fat dairy products, and sugary foods and drinks. These foods are pro-inflammatory and do your prostate no favors. Making a simple swap, like having salmon instead of steak, or snacking on a handful of almonds instead of chips, can make a world of difference over time. Step 4. The supporting habits. Finally, let's round out your prostate protection plan with a few key supporting habits. Hydration. Drink plenty of water during the day to keep your urinary system flushed. However, if nighttime urination is your main problem, try to taper off your fluid intake 2 to 3 hours before bed. Alcohol and smoking. If you drink, do so in moderation, as excessive alcohol can irritate the bladder and prostate. And if you smoke, you have to find a way to stop. While smoking isn't a primary cause of prostate cancer, it is strongly linked to a higher risk of dying from it if you do get it. Don't ignore symptoms. This is absolutely critical. If you are experiencing persistent urinary symptoms, please do not suffer in silence. Don't put off a medical evaluation. Early diagnosis of any prostate condition, whether it's BPH or something more serious, leads to better outcomes. Talk to your doctor. Discuss regular prostate screening, which may include a PSA blood test and a digital rectal exam, especially if you have risk factors like a family history. Before I share how Walter is doing today, I want to hear from you. In the comments below, let me know if you've noticed a link between how much you sit and how often you're up at night. Your experience could help another man watching this who thinks he's the only one going through it. Let's break the silence together. Walter's transformation and the power of choice. So, what happened to Walter? His story is the reason I felt so compelled to make this video. After our conversation, something just clicked for him. He saw the pattern. He saw the trap he had laid for himself. He left my office not with a prescription for a powerful drug, but with a prescription for a different way of life. He started small. He bought a simple kitchen timer and set it for 30 minutes every time he sat in his armchair. When it buzzed, he got up. He'd walk a lap around his house. He'd do a few gentle knee bends. It felt silly at first, he told me, but he stuck with it. Then he started a daily walk. Just 10 minutes to the end of the block and back. The next week, it was 15 minutes. Within 2 months, he was walking for 30 to 40 minutes every morning, enjoying the sunrise. He and his wife cleaned out their pantry. They started experimenting with new recipes rich in vegetables and fish. He discovered he actually loved roasted broccoli and that a bowl of oatmeal with berries was far more satisfying than his old breakfast. He started losing weight, he had more energy, and he was sleeping better. At his 3-month follow-up, he was a different man. The change was remarkable. He told me he was now only getting up once a night, sometimes not at all. He had rejoined his old walking club. He and his wife had gone to the theater, and he sat through the entire 3-hour performance without a single anxious thought about the restroom. His life was no longer shrinking, it was expanding again. Walter took back control. His story is powerful proof that your future is not set in stone. The path you are on today does not have to be the one you stay on tomorrow. It wasn't one magic pill that transformed Walter's health. It was a series of small, consistent choices, all stemming from the decision to break that one single foundational habit of prolonged sitting. Your health is not just a matter of chance, it's a matter of choice. You have the power to make these changes. Let's quickly summarize the key takeaways. First, sit less. Use the 30-30 rule. Second, move more. Aim for at least 20 to 30 minutes of moderate activity like brisk walking each day. Third, fuel your body with anti-inflammatory, prostate-friendly foods like cooked tomatoes, broccoli, and fatty fish, while avoiding processed junk. And fourth, do not ignore your symptoms or skip screenings. Talk to your doctor. If this video has been helpful, if it has opened your eyes to this silent saboteur in your own life, please consider subscribing to the channel for more health advice and share this video with a friend, a brother, or a father who needs to hear this message. It's time we started having these conversations and supported each other in health. And please remember, always discuss any health concerns and changes to your routine with your own healthcare provider. This information is for educational purposes and is not a substitute for professional medical advice. Thank you for watching, and here's to your health.